but instead of buying one, he decided he was going to build one.
I think when it's all said and done, it's painted and everything else, if I have $400 or $500 in it, I'd be surprised.
Hey, so we're over at my buddy Jason's house this morning, and last fall, he bought an open station tractor and decided, it's Maine and it's friggin' cold and snows a lot, so he said, I'm gonna get a cab for it. But instead of buying one, he decided he was gonna build one, which makes sense to me. So anyway, we're over at his place today and we're gonna check that out. And so I'm here with Jason now, and we're gonna go in and dig the tractor out. But first, pretty sure there is a pretty cool truck between us and the tractor.
Right.
All right, so let's check that out. So we got the old square body 1-ton here. We're gonna start this up. What do you guys think of that thing? That's a pretty cool truck. All right, so this is a tractor, huh?
Only 700 hours.
Nice. 700 hours. Oh, yeah. It's only about 10 degrees Fahrenheit here this morning. A little bit of snow. So it's chilly, and this garage is not heated, so. The hydraulic pump is cold and angry. Yeah, weight and tire change would be a whole different ballgame there. Yeah, I wonder if it's just filter.
It could be.
How light is it? How much is it?
It's not that bad.
So this is the frame of the cab that he'll use. And that's the front window. That'll stiffen it up quite a bit. The front window goes on.
See, what I'm up to is that'll make a really good cab mount no matter what you do. And I really do think I have the corners of the cab of that built rugged enough structurally that there'd be no issues as far as not having this. Perfect.
Look at that. The roll bar delete kit. Right there.
Yeah.
Let's see, slide back. Now, I'll put it like that. It's hitting right there, so it's pushing the whole thing. Open it like that.
Yeah, that's a better idea anyway.
That's like it's over with.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, it's kind of okay. Sits right on those fenders, though.
See, what I'm up to is for what I have for doors. I don't remember. I'm going to build a new set of doors, but the ones I have are all rusted out. I don't know what I have for a span, how far back on that fender I need to be, which is not a big deal.
Would the heater fit over here?
It would, but I'd like to keep that for put a window down there.
Oh, yeah, that would make
see
it.
with forks and the bucket and stuff.
That's a good idea. Yeah,
Like a clear
yeah,
point of view.
yeah. You don't want to block that off.
We could set this on jack stands and kind of shake it around and get it at a more stationary.
You put a spoiler in here on this. Say sitting on the other side here. He's got a Kubota diesel in this. I suspect we'll see more of that. Sneak peek.
I'll build pieces that come off this bolt for the boom arms and out to here somehow.
Yep.
See if I come at an angle, come out, so I can put that bolt in there and have a bolt to here. That way you can just pick the cab back off. That's why I made these longer. That was my idea anyway.
So you can put a bracket across and
Yeah.
adapt as needed.
Yeah. I think the easiest thing to do is put it, it wouldn't be a 45, but put it at an angle and make it so it bolts in here and bolts right through there. And that would be a good solid point, and then back there on top of that roll bar, a good solid point. Once the mounts are built though, snapping it off of the front end loader won't be a big deal.
So you build a plate across the back where the roll bar is or something to bolt to.
Yeah. Yeah, I haven't really. Originally, I thought that these would be more under these gussets I put there. It's not a big deal, it doesn't really matter. But I'll probably take a piece of angle iron on the back side of this right here,
Yep.
and I'll weld it to this tubing
Oh, there you go.
and bolt up through here with a piece of rubber. I'll have to cap that so it looks a little bit better. But
Good morning. It's Sunday morning. It's been a few minutes since we've been out to see Jason. A few weeks has passed. He's been working on his cab since I left, and he recorded a few clips, so I included those. Anyway, before we headed out, I had to change the oil in the truck here, so did that real quick this morning, and it's warmed up a little bit now. It's 23 out. It was 17 when I started, so it's March 1st. About ready for it to warm up a little bit. I don't know about you guys, but I'm a when the light comes on, I change the oil kind of guy. I don't know. I don't believe in a 5,000-mile oil change because I think the engines are built a lot cleaner now, and the oil is definitely different than it was 30 years ago. But I think the proper way is to use an oil analysis. But I don't use an oil analysis. I don't send away for oil analysis. I trust the Ford engineers that make this, and I think they're probably a little conservative when they turn the light on. I'm sure they expect people to go over when the light comes on by 1,000 or 2,000 miles, so I suspect it's conservative, but I change the oil when the light comes on. We're headed over to Jason's right now, though. We're going to check out his cab progress. Morning.
Good morning.
That's freaking awesome. There's how you scrape the driveway. All right, so what have you done here since we were gone?
So the last time we cut the roll bar off outside, so we cut that off the last time, and we had the basic height of what the cab was going to be for the fender. Obviously, I wanted to leave some for a bush, and I'll cut that, neaten that up when we take it back off to paint it. But I capped that and just made a gusset, which would be more than enough for that. Then that gave us a height to get off the fender. I'm just going to take some weather stripping going along here. I'm happy with that because when things bend and move and whatever else climbing up over, it won't be rubbing on the fender. I think we'll put a piece of angle iron. I'll trim these rubbers up flush with that on both sides. I'm going to put a piece of angle iron in and face it down, maybe 1.5 inch angle or something like that. And I'll weld that in before I paint it. I'll drill 4 or 6 holes in it. And we'll take a piece of truck mud flat and that'll close the back of it in, and we'll go in underneath the seat. Up here, originally, when we were talking, I had a vision of trying to tie into the top of this somehow. And I cut one of these in two. This is the same ID as this is OD. This is 2 1/4 OD, and this is 2 1/4 ID. And I wanted to make some tabs or something and go back to this, but I wasn't really in love with that idea. So there's threaded holes, 4 threaded holes in the bottom of the transmission. Just 12mm bolts is all they are. I just took a piece of 4-inch channel and drilled it and made that. That's good and rugged. I'm not real crazy about that. It's fine for now. I'll put another bolt in that, obviously. I kind of wish I'd have notched that, and I still could, and brought it up like 25 degrees to get a little height, but that's fine for now. And this was a cab, an old cab I had down in Dad's pit. The windshield frame was out of it. It was an old Bombardier, like an SW48 track machine cab. I cut this out of it because I had the glass, is basically why I did it. It's obviously going to stay narrow enough for the boom arms. There's different ways you could have done this. The correct way would have been to have a curved piece of glass, obviously, and they do that. I wanted to stay out away from the steering wheel for your hands to have room to run it, you know, or whatever else. This will work, I think. It'll be a lot of glass. I can make it rugged enough. I'll fill this in and we'll 45 this back to here or something. I'm obviously going to cut these notches off to get that away from, so it's not rubbing on the boom arms if the tractor's moving around. I'd like to put a small window in right here so we can look out through when you're using the bucket for the forks to see what you're doing. We will have a lot of view out of this windshield being as tall as it is. I've got some sound deadening mat I ordered. When I paint this, I'm going to paint the inside, outside, everything. And I'm going to put sound deadening mat in all this, and these spots, in behind here. And then I am going to put some upholstery in it of some sort. I won't get too fancy, but if not, that'll be quite noisy.
Yeah.
That way. But
yeah, some sound deadening mat will make a big difference.
Yeah. And I found some decent stuff. It's self-adhesive, obviously. But these rebar are just temporary, obviously, just to hold the side pieces. I'll cut these out when I get this built. I'm going to order Titan attachments, skid steer attachment plates. I'm not going to get the pin-on style. I'm just getting the plates themselves. And I'm going to cut the back sides of these off and weld them on the plates. And I think that'll be a fun little project to do.
Yeah.
We'll be able to, Dad and I can put forks. I'll build a set of forks and stuff. We can put forks on and off this. And I'd like to build a snow pusher for Dad to use out here in the wintertime and stuff. The pin on and off. And then it would also make it nice for him or I to put it out of our garage. We can just unpin out of the bucket and drive it in and out with the bucket off it. So I'm probably going to do that within the next week or two while I'm painting the cab. And that'll make the tractor that much more useful to us.
Yeah, so we'll get a video out on that.
I talked about raising this up. Well, Dad was over here a little bit ago. I think I'm actually going to put a piece on here and lengthen this out about 4 inches, or 5 possibly, with a piece of 1/4 inch of something that looks decent. And that'll make a step for him. He can step here and then step up. And that way, that'll make it so if he does step on that the way it is right now, he won't skin his shin up or something on that if he slips. So I could put a little piece of something on there. And so I guess we will leave that height there. And I'll put a little something on there. And I'll paint this and that piece and these angle irons black with the with the frame of the tractor. These and the top and everything is going to be white. Kind of like the old Fords and the early New Hollands tractors. They had the white top and the blue tractor, and that would look good. I have an old set of doors off of early Curtis cab that I kind of built this cab around. Obviously they're very rusted. When the cab is done and painted and on the tractor, and once I get the quick attach assembly all done, I won't be in a big hurry, but I'll build a new set of doors. I'd much rather have the quick attach assembly done so we can use the tractor, and I'll do the doors at my leisure. That won't be a big deal. I'll just take some 1/2 inch, well, it's 1/2 inch or 3/4, I guess, like square tubing, and I'll just outline that out. We'll take some 1/8 inch plate or whatever I can find or whatever I have, and we'll make a set of doors. Maybe I can save those latches, but that won't be a big deal. I've got all the glass out of it, so I really don't have a lot of money in glass on this cab. What I made this out of was some shelving, and it's rugged because it has all these pieces in it. I knew the length I wanted to have, so from the face of this back to here, I wanted 15 inches to the back of this cab. So all I did is just stepped that ahead and welded it on the inside. And I just took a piece of, I think it was 2 inch, or I guess it was 2.5 inch flat stock, 1/8 inch, and just to finish that off, And that made that quite rugged that way. And then here, just instead of buying a whole piece of 1/8 inch, I just took more of that shelving. Then on this, all I did was my doors that I built off of were 28 3/4. So to move them back to have, you know, a little space in between them, I made it 28 1/4 is what I did. And that's obviously just 2-inch angle, some 3/4 inch flat stock. Up here, I started out with a piece of 3-inch flat stock, and that wasn't quite long enough. The door would go in by it, so I took a piece of 3/4 inch flat stock and lowered that a little bit, is all I did. But I've got the door strikers and everything all in it. That all come out good. I do like how that all worked. For the 2 side windows, they came as a pair, and I think those were the 2 side windows. Those were 12-inch by 24. I think those were around $100. I don't remember exactly. This is 22-inch high by 30-inch wide. I think that one was like 70 or 80 bucks. And that's the only glass I bought. And that one window down the bottom, I think I have a piece of plexiglass that's good I can use for that. So because this tractor has this set up, I had thoughts of trying to move all this back here, but it has a lot of steel hydraulic hoses, and I mean, I could make up some hoses, but I'm not going to. That's going to stay there. It's fine. With that being said, I think I'm going to put a heater right here somewhere, or in this general area, because there's no way you could put a window in here anyway. You're not going to see anything. So if I had a small heater here, and there's not a lot you can do to close in the cab over here. So more than likely this will be, I'm gonna put 90s on these. I'll more than likely just have a piece of rubber truck mud flap or something come down over here neatly, and a piece of weather stripping come in here. I think when it's all said and done, it's painted and everything else, if I have $400 or $500 in it, I'd be surprised.
All right, well, we're gonna wrap that up for now, but let Jason get back to work here. We'll check back and keep an eye on his progress. We'll do another video pretty soon of when he gets the Titan attachment plates in.
Sounds good.
And tackle that, so.
Looking forward to it.
All right, well, we'll see you guys on the next one then.